امروز افتخار میزبانی شما رو دارم. قبل از هر چیزی من یه سیر کلی از برنامه‌های امروز رو خدمتتون عرض کنم. ما امروز یه سخنرانی خواهیم داشت، 2 قسمت سخنرانی آقای پروفسور کنافلاخر که از دانشگاه وین تشریف آوردن. بعد از اون سخنرانی آقای دکتر امینیان رو خواهیم داشت که ایشون هم از پژوهشگران دانشگاه وین هستند و بعدش هم سخنرانی آقای دکتر کرمانشاهی که عضو هیئت علمی دانشگاه تهران هستن رو خواهیم داشت. قسمت زیادی از کلاسمون از جلسه امروزمون به پرسش و پاسخ و دیسکاشن اختصاص خواهد داشت و توی این قسمت من میخوام ازتون اجازه بگیرم که اگه اجازه بدین من یه خوش آمد به انگلیسی به آقای دکتر بگم و بعدش من خودم یه اینترودکشن و معرفی خدمتتون خواهم داشت و بعد میریم سراغ کلاس درس. Professor, hello. Welcome to Iran. Your presence here I truly is appreciated, and we are incredibly gratitude for your willingness to share your knowledge. I believe that definitely today we learn many things of you, and once again I can say welcome to Iran and thank you for being here with us. Before you start, please let me to have an introduction of your voice and your background. آقای پروفسور کنافلاخر علاوه بر عناوین مثل ریسرچر، محقق، پژوهشگر که خیلی از اعضای هیئت علمی خب با این عناوین خطاب میشن، عنوان خیلی مهمی که دارن اینه که ایشون نویسنده به معنی اینکه توی روزنامه خیلی پابلیکیشن دارن و تقریبا هر هفته توی هفته‌نامه ها مطلب منتشر میکنن، توی برنامه‌های تلویزیونی خیلی شرکت میکنن و ما به عنوان شهرساز اینو میدونیم که ارتباط برقرار کردن با جامعه، با سوسایتی خیلی مهمتر از اینه که حالا شما ریسرچر باشین، شما سایتیشن داشته باشین و کلی مقاله ارائه بدین. این نکته خیلی در رابطه با شخصیت ایشون قابل توجهه که علاوه بر اینکه ارتباط با فضای آکادمیک، ارتباط با فضای کاری، حالا به عنوان مشاور بودن رو دارند، با فضای عمومی هم خیلی ارتباط قوی دارن. شما اگه یه سرچ توی گوگل بکنین، توی یوتیوب یه سرچ بکنین، کلی اینترویو و توی تاک شوهای تلویزیونی میتونین از ایشون مطلب پیدا بکنین. در رابطه با سال تولد و سال دکترا گرفتنشون و مدت زمانی که ایشون مشغول کار بودن، از سال 1967 تا همین امسال رو اگر ما حساب بکنیم یه بازه زمانی 57 سال است که تقریبا بیشتر از 2 برابر سن منه و میتونیم بگیم که تجربه های آکادمیک و تجربه های کاری خیلی زیادی دارن و امروز میتونن که از این تجربه ها برای ما بگن. پوزیشن های متفاوتی دارن، حالا member of European Academy of Science and Arts, chairman of the Austrian Urban Road Scientific Committee, personal advisor of the Transportation Minister of Austria. اما باز یکی از پوزیشن های اصلیشون اینه که مؤسس کلاب آف ویانا هستن و توی این حضورشون توی این کلاب به خاطر حفظ ارتباط با دانشجویان و نخبگان بوده. توی یکی از افراد خیلی محبوب توی تاک شوها و اینترویو هستن. حالا این لیست مجلات و روزنامه هایی هستش که از ایشون مطلب منتشر شده. موضوع خیلی مهمی که میتونیم بگیم، این جمله رو اگر بخونیم: The car has stuck in our brains like a virus. اعتقاد اصلی ایشون بر پیاده مداریه و ماشین رو به عنوان یه ویروسی میدونن که نه تنها تو ذهن مردم بلکه تو ذهن برنامه ریز شهری نشسته و این پلنره که میاد شهر رو استراکچر و ساختارش رو طراحی میکنه و چون ماشین، اینکه ما باید برای ماشین یه زیرساختی فراهم بکنیم تو ذهن ماست، باعث میشه که شهر به اینجا برسه. توی زمینه تدریسشون میتونم بگم که تدریسشون متفاوت، همونجور که حالا اول بحث دیدین تدریسشون کاملا متفاوت با شیوه هایی که حالا هم توی ایران ما میبینیم توی دانشکده‌های فنی، نه تنها توی ایران، توی ایالات متحده معمولا این شکلیه شیوه تدریس، ولی شیوه تدریس ایشون کاملا متفاوته و به موضوع چند وجهی بودن مسائل شهری که ما همیشه صحبتش رو میکنیم، برنامه‌ریزی شهری مخلوطی از urban structure, human behavior, social issue and economy and environment، به وضوح میتونیم توی کارهای ایشون این موضوع رو ببینیم. دو تا از اون کاراشون که حالا ما همیشه تلاش میکنیم که باشیم توی عرصه پابلیک و کارهایی رو انجام بدیم که واقعا به منفعت عمومی کمک میکنه. دو تا مورد که من توی مصاحبه ها و توی کارهاشون، توی رزومهشون پیدا کردم و خیلی جالب بود. توی سال 1972 ایشون در برابر یه طرح بزرگراهی بوده، این طرح رو رد کردن و سال 1972 میدونین که زمانی بوده که خیلی بحث ماشین به عنوان یک تکنولوژی جدید و اینکه باید شهرمون بره این سمتی. حالا الان توی اروپا خب خیلی بحث واکبیلیتی و اینجور شهر 15 دقیقه و اینا خیلی مطرحه، ولی خب سال 1972 واقعا زمانی نبوده که آدما شجاعت اینو داشته باشن که بگن که نه ما بزرگراه نمیخوایم. و توی سال 1972 ایشون میبینین که در برابر این طرح مقاومت کردن و توی سال 1974 رینگ ترام رو سیو کردن و بحث بایسیکل و دوچرخه سواری رو وارد کانسپت ترانسپورتیشن وین کردن. در رابطه با پابلیکیشن های ایشون 500 تا بیشتر از 500 تا پابلیکیشن داشتن، حدود 100 تا مقاله دارن و 10 عنوان کتاب که یکی از این کتاب‌هاشون به فارسی ترجمه شده، کتاب برنامه‌ریزی و تردد پیاده که توسط دکتر غریب ترجمه شده. یکی از کتاب‌هاشون که خیلی توی سطح آکادمیک معروف است و رفرنس خیلی بهش داده میشه، کتاب وایروس اوتو هست که این کتاب رو ترجمه انگلیسیش هم فکر می‌کنم به تازگی منتشر شده. خیلی ممنونم ازتون. ما دعوت می‌کنیم از آقای دکتر که تشریف بیارن و در خدمتتون باشیم. Professor, I invite you to start your lecture.
No, I would recommend that if they recognize it will be necessary to discuss it more in Farsi or get deeper insight in Farsi, then they might ask just now. Okay? Well, first I make a short some parts of the presentations I have made here already, okay? Active mobility, I think I would make a short selection of, okay? Yeah, I will have a look. So, it's the first slide, yeah. Yeah, okay. So I was invited to give 2 lectures, each of them 90 minutes, but 90 minutes here are about 3 hours, as I've recognized. But this is good. This is always good because this shows interest of students what is important, because then they start the discussion. This is the exchange of question and answer is very much important. I go very quick through this system. This is an interesting thing that evolution, well, I go first a little bit into the evolution problem. I don't know, probably nobody of you or most of you don't know about the principles of evolution as we know it today, because knowledge is changed every second. from evolutionary scientists. Because there are two views to evolution. One is the creation. We believe on God is everywhere, because people are thinking, where are the things coming from, and where are we going finally? And the religion gives answers to it. And the other one is the scientific approach. They are going into findings when they discovered in the 19th century that the age of the Earth is not 3,000 years or something like that, analyzing the text of the Bible and then going back with the generations, and they discovered, okay, it can be 5,000, 6,000 years old, but finally they discovered there are much older fossils there, and from geology they could find out how old the fossils were, and now we know about where the universe is about 14 billion years, and the Earth is existing since about 4 billion years, and humans exist, we don't know exactly how long, but the branch of mammals, which is called Homo sapiens, which are we, is changed in the last few years, due to recent findings on bones and something like that. We thought before it were 120,000 years old, but I think we know as we are today with our equipment is about between 200,000 and 300,000 years. So we are a very young branch of beings. And the youngest branch of beings are the one who are the earliest falling down from the trees. If you believe on the trees, but it is not a tree, because evolution is always happening in between, not from the bottom to the top, which is the image of the tree. But the tree is also, if you see it in this way, it is wrong, because the tree could only grow because it was something above the tree. It was the environment, it was the climate, it is the air, and the something is below, and between this, the trees grow. But we recognize normally is the tree is growing from what? Okay? Just to give I see you are wondering, yeah. But there is a lot of books, a lot of publications. My brother has written just a recent new version of this kind of evolution, because he's going very deep into the beginnings of the activities. But clever philosophers like Aristoteles have discovered, well, there is something which makes what is coming on. This is the material and the form. And this is very much important for urban planners, because you are using materials to make some form. This is urban planning. This is civil engineering. Also, this is what we are doing. What I am doing since, in principle, I'm doing it since I was born. But professionally, I'm doing it since 1953 about. And then they must fit together, yeah? Because special material can make some certain forms. We have visited yesterday where the people are using material to make some forms, making faces, making sculptures and something like that. We are doing this mentally too, in principle. Yeah, material is, for example, in this case, something we are thinking about. But we need to make it energy. And the energy is going through the levels of evolution, because energy don't change always its appearance, but it's always energy. On the lowest level of energy are the energies keeping the atoms together, and then the molecules together, then your limbs together, then the society together, and finally you sell your life for money. And money is nothing else than energy on paper. Because your work is paid by money, and your work is your energy. Money is nothing else than energy. And devaluation of money means it is devaluation your work by somebody. Be careful. You have to understand it. Everything is transport system, because they are using wrong informations to devaluate currencies they don't like. Well, This is a typical strategy in the financial sector or powers. But everything has a purpose, and the purpose is also changing, going through the levels. So your purpose is to make a city, and the purpose of civil engineers of the last 70 years was make a nice life for car users. So they make a used material, make a form which is convenient for cars, and the outcome was in between. Okay? But you can do something else, then you get another form. This is important for you. I think you should know as an introduction. This is how the Greeks have called it, or the Latins have called it causa finalis. This is the causa efficiency, and so on. So I'm jumping over this. This is a very nice city. Mohammed has been there already one time, or maybe more often. It doesn't look like a city. Does it look like a city? No. If you look on the surface of this area, and you look on the surface of a people, and if the people would have this one, what would you think they have? Mason. Yeah? It's not a city at all. So it has not the impression. If you go some 100 meters away, then I find this one. Does this look like a city? Do you learn this one? Yeah, of course, yes. Okay. He started a new lecture, as usual. I know him very well. So I'm jumping over this one. So this is what is happening. You have the universe starting here, the cosmos, and finally you start doing something in between. Because everything what you are doing is influencing things above you and things below, what is in the ground, what is life, and something like that. You are changing structures of life, and you are changing even today with a huge amount of energy the atmosphere. Then we are discussing about climate change and something like that. Man-made climate change. Just give you an idea what we are doing. So we don't make the responsibility to do this one. And then we have no idea what is going on. So this is interesting. You can find it everywhere. We have it since 50 years in our basic teaching papers. This is the space of people for their mobility. This small block here is the area the people need in public transport. If it is moving slow, these are the pedestrians and these are the cyclists. This is the area the mechanical modes per person need when they are moving with about 30 kilometers an hour. And this is for public transport here. And this is what this kind of modes, which are able to move faster, occupy per person with 30 kilometers an hour. And this is what the cars are using. This is the area of parking. And this is the area a car are using for 30 kilometers an hour. And this is for 50 kilometers an hour. And if you have a limited area in the city and the cars start to move, they eat up very soon the area existing in public space. And we call it congestion. Okay? One person eats up the moving space of 100 of humans. And we haven't recognized it. The architects are in favor of cars because they provide everything for cars. The basement of these nice buildings you have seen before, the dots are garages. Isn't it crazy? And as soon as cars are coming out, they eat up the whole space for humans, children, make them unsafe. This is what we have learned. I have learned it also, and in most universities, they are still applying this kind of rules because they are in the standards. And where are the standards coming from? Where are they coming from? Yeah. No. United States have no brain. There is no brain in the United States as well as in Iran or in Austria, because this is a idealistic name for something. Yeah, the standards are coming out of some brains, professor brains, mainly. Excuse me? Of course, yes, thank you. Yeah, economy, businessmen, yeah, perfect. If professors are businessmen, then they are the same, yeah, okay. Yeah, but I think the purpose of professor is not it's not necessary to make some business, to pay your students and whatever is working, your colleagues and working in the institute, but not to make money. You are absolutely right, yeah, perfect. Thank you very much for the additional remark. It's very much important. You interrupted me because I wanted to say it, but you are very quick in thinking and talking, like women are normally. So, this was so impressive. One of the reasons was why car traffic appeared so soon. You see, this is the Fifth Avenue on the left side, 1900 and 1913. And on the left side, you see, if you look, where is a car? You don't find a car, but there is somewhere a car. I think it is somewhere on the left side, around here. There is the first car here in this view, and on the right side, you look where is a carriageway with horses, and you find it here. And this happened within 13 years. And this was so impressive that the Americans started motorization, because they had a lot of oil, and they didn't know what they should do with their oil. Then they discovered some clever ideas to sell the oil to other countries. And then they discovered it is much better to make cars and burn the oil there. So, and this was the normal kind of thinking. If the number of cars are increasing, then we need more roads, kilometer of roads. And what was forgotten is if you have a feedback, and this was not known by the traditional traffic engineers because they were happy when the cars were moving fine. This was typical traditional traffic engineers thinking. And then this was already my bad contribution, that there is a feedback. And this feedback is a positive one. So this means if you produce more cars, you have more roads. And if you have more roads, it is much more interesting to use the car. Okay? Can we use it in our practice, in your teaching, how to solve the problems outside? You know now the circle. What should we do to solve the problem we had discussed yesterday in this room? Not you. You have heard it 10 times or 15 times. You have talked about. What would you do? Do you have? Are you happy with the transport system outside, with the amount of cars there? Are you happy? Are you not happy? Okay, you are not happy. Now I have shown you one. There are many circles, but one of them, which is a very crucial one. This is the circle. If traditional civil engineers are thinking about it. We had yesterday a discussion with a very nice guy here, and he's thinking if there are more cars, then he make the forecast, as we were discussing 2 days ago. We make the forecast and then we provide. This is what is happening also in urban planning. You make the forecast of population and then you fill up the whole area with blocks, with concrete and something like that. Okay, it's the same. It's the same principle. But we are going now back to our transport question. You are not happy with it. And I have given you now the instrument, one of the instruments, to change it. What does it mean? You have it in front of your eyes. Not me. But yeah. Oh, well. I'm also no. I'm also I use the same principle: predict and provide, but other goals. Okay. Uh, you have the tools here. Maybe the table is not good here, huh? Do you see? Do you see it? The slide? Then you can move. We are talking about mobility, please. Practice mobility. Change. Okay. So fine. You see more now. Yeah? Was it a good advice? Yeah, okay. So you see what is happening here. So if there are more, what Professor Kamal Shah had said, this was the traditional kind of thinking. Forecast and then provide. Then you have a positive feedback, and then the engineers are happy. And this is my crazy behavior. This is that we must know if we make more roads, we encourage people to buy more cars. So we have more cars in the system. And I have asked, are you happy with the situation outside on your roads? We had yesterday a very nice experience. We have normally the experience with public transport, and so we know how long does it need to go, at least between some points in Tehran. But we have chosen a shared taxi, and it needs about twice the time because you are not happy with the situation. And I gave you now the tools. You have to use it now. You are not happy, and the question is, in the exam, change it. And you have the tools. No. Forget capital flow, just try to understand system behavior. There's always the thinking, well, something else. Later on, maybe I can explain. I understand why you gave this answer. Because there's something in your brain which organized this answer. Yeah. Okay. But you must solve the problem. Yeah, this is you see, I repeat it once more. The traditional thinking was, if there are more cars, we have to provide more roads. And then I recognized in the last century, you see it is about 100 years old, my research work from this area, I recognized, if we produce more roads, then the people buy more cars. And the outcome is what we call SMS. Yeah. And he's not happy with this outcome. It's probably nobody, because you have all the symptoms of this dynamic. And now the question is, after this part of the lecture, how would you change it by using this tool? What does it mean? Has this some effect on the cars? Because if this is this has positive effects on the roads, and the roads have positive effects on the number of cars. How would you like to change it? What can you do? Can you influence car producers? No, not civil engineers. Forget the civil engineers. Yes. Yeah, what should they make? Okay, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, okay. Perfect. Yeah, this is exactly what I said before. But we should solve the problem. No, there's no public transportation so far in this picture. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So your solution is less roads. Have you seen congestion on the pedestrian area? No. Oh, interesting. What is there? No carriageway, huh? No carriageway. Have I opened your eyes of the others too? Excellent. Excellent. Number one. She has passed the examination already, yeah? Give you a good rating. Have a look. Yeah, this is exactly make a negative feedback. Yeah? If you are dependent on drugs, it is not good to give the people more drugs. They make cheaper drugs, but give them no drugs at all, then they are running into the wall, and they like, oh, this is not nice to run into a wall, yeah? Okay? This is exactly what I have done. And what Mohammed today, this afternoon... Oh, okay, yes, if you like. If you have enough gifts. Thank you. Have you enough of them? Okay, okay. Okay. This was excellent. Have you learned a lot of things? Was the time worthwhile to spend here? Otherwise, we can go home. The time is the most precious thing we have. Everything is lost every second, especially in my age. Okay. So this was, I think, yeah. We cannot drive cars, yes, anymore. Yeah, of course. Well, you will get the lecture, the answers very soon. Yeah. Yeah. Is this a fixed system, or is this a flexible system? This is my question. Is it a flexible system, or it is a dynamic system, or it is a static system? The people want. It is flexible. And if it is flexible, we can change it. And if we know how, this is what I'm doing here. I try to make your understanding that we can change it. Excuse me? Yeah, this is the normal engineering thinking. This is the normal lawyers thinking. This is the normal political thinking, because they think what is here is static. No. A city is a dynamic system, is a body. For me, a city is a body, very complex body. Your bodies are also very complex, but a city is even more complex because it is operating by your bodies. Just, if you go into my books, then you find, but I cannot squeeze my books in 10 minutes lecture. Okay, so the effect of the positive feedback is this exponential growth. So if you have this effect and the system reacts in this way, and you repeat it, then it accelerates exponentially. And you are losing control of the system. Yeah, because linear thinking would be this one. This is linear thinking. But this is exponential behavior of the system. Yeah? We are now a little bit in the system, but you shouldn't be afraid. This is the curve which reacts. This is kind of reaction. This is human behavior. Okay. So there is a lot of enforcing feedbacks here, because if you have kilometers of road, they eat up a lot of budget, and this budget also feeds this system again, and so on and so on and so on. You have a lot of people employed, have a lot of professors on this side, they provide these things. Then you have the professors on this side, they produce cars. And finally, when they are running into the wall, the professors on the car side say, oh yeah, we will change combustion engine by electric engine and you will solve the problem. And their guys in the engineering are extremely happy because they think they can build more roads. Have they solved the problem? No. You have the same congestion, the same number of accidents, the same air pollution by particles and something like that. And this is running into the media and in the scientific papers. Hundreds of scientific papers are full with this kind of nonsense. Yeah. But this kind of thinking is not very easy to publish, because it is against what the lady said before. Okay? So these are the pillars of traditional transport planning. They believe on growth of mobility, which means cars is the mode of mobility. And the second one is benefits by saving time through travel speed. And the third one is freedom of modal choice, so they provide parking places. So this is based on these observations. As I've shown you this Fifth Avenue picture, more cars, more mobility. This was typical example. The second one is the saving travel time. You keep these cities A and B, and then you provide the system with a faster system, with a faster road or rail or whatever it is. And then you calculate the benefits out of time savings. And this is the formula you have to calculate. It is very easy. If you have the time saving here, then you add up all the time saving of the trips per day, a year or whatever it is, over the time of the existence of the road, and this is the benefit. This is the benefit is time saving, and then you calculate this benefit cost ratio. The economists are doing it, and if it is greater than 1, 2, or 3, like in the German standards, then you say, okay, it is worthwhile to invest. This is this kind of principles. So I'm going here, and the congestion problem as it is treated means that you have traffic flow here. This is the number of cars going through a cross-section. This is the density, which means number of cars per kilometer, and this is the speed. This is kilometers per hour. And if you have congestion, then the density is going up, and the speed is going down, but this is not what transport planners and car users want. The car users want to have a free flow, and we have to provide it. So what we are doing, we are reducing the density by providing more roads. So they are happy, they are making this one, and then they are enhancing the speed, and everybody is happy for the moment. This would be in medical treatment. You have pain on your hand. You go to a doctor, and he is a typical traditional educated engineer, and he would say, oh, you have the pain, and it looks very bad, so I cut your hand. And you are released from your pain, but you have no hand anymore. But the medical doctors know that this is not the right treatment, but we are doing this exactly in the civil engineering field. Just to tell you one of the so this was the situation in Vienna. Vienna in 1960s, it was a church in the middle of the street in the 4th district, and you see the tram lines were going around the church, but there is not enough space for cars, so the church was broken down. And there was a big uprising against this one. You have seen in the wonderful documentation from your colleague here. In 1972, it was not me alone, it was a movement of young researchers at this time. I was the only one from the civil engineering faculty. I was not a professor, so I risked my career. I did what is forbidden, absolutely forbidden. The main colleagues were coming from environmental. scientists, science, and some urban planners, but the most movement came from the people. And at this time, the master plan was to build, this is the city center, these are the inner districts of Vienna, and this is the so-called second ring road, this is the Gürtelstraße, and on all these old roads, these were the walls. These were the walls. The inner wall of the old city was around here. This is the Ringstraße, and this was the outer wall when we fight against the Turks. This was a free area where there was not a wall like in the inner part, but there was a hill, and they could shoot on the enemies who are coming from somewhere. So they need some free field, and then later on this road was built. And now this was built up in the 19th century. You see a lot of buildings, historical buildings. But what is happening if you are doing this one, what the engineers don't know is that the system reacts. If you are doing this on one section, then you have effects on the system, because the system is becoming more attractive. If you add more roads, then you attract people to use more cars. And the people, then you have more cars in the system, and if the speed is going on because you have a new road opened, then you have also enhanced a little bit the speed in the system. Is this clear? There's a contribution, and then finally you have more car kilometers in the system, and then you have more congestion. This is exactly what my students must know. This is not a feedback, understanding. If you don't understand the feedback, you are not able to solve a problem. Okay? I am waiting for comments from the students. As much as I've seen, they've got everything. I'm looking to the faces. They don't look. You have some problems with? No. Okay. No, I have a Farsi, maybe, yeah. No, this is common understanding. Inshallah, of course. This is it's the translation in Farsi. Yeah, I'm talking in German, and you hear it in English. This is the translation in Farsi, yeah, to lift the secret. Okay, I'm talking not even in German, I'm talking in the Carinthian dialect. Okay, so the outcome, this is the example. What happened here, this was the crowded road, which has to be released, the poor people along the road. And this was what traditional models produce. If you build a motorway to take away this kind of pressure from the poor people along this road, then you have less traffic, of course. This was the north-south road, and then they built the motorway. And 10 years, these are studies which I was asked to make for the city. You see this rather not very new, it's in 1970, but we are doing it all the time when you have a lot of data in this direction. 10 years after, you see we had more traffic on the old road. In addition, this was the traffic produced by the motorway. So this is the behavior of the system. And this is civil engineering traditional thinking. Cut off all this one, then you have the traditional civil engineering planning principle and teaching. And this is what is my teaching, opening the eyes, proving what kind of stupid theory I have developed, but it is real reality in the outside world. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Just for the moment of opening the motorway, yes. This is the hand. When you have lost your hand, you say, oh, no pain anymore. No pain anymore. Yeah, but later on, maybe you come in a situation where you might need your second hand also. Okay? Yeah. Of course, of course. No, this is the system. This is my body. This is my body. And I am a doctor who knows that the second hand is important for the whole body. But the specialists, which are the civil engineers or the chirurgs in the hospital, who are specialized for amputating, see only the hand, nothing else. This is their tool. Yeah, they don't exist in the medical treatment in general anymore today, but in civil engineering they are the normal. Okay? If you are specialists for amputating, amputation, cutting off limbs of people, yeah, you are a chirurg, yeah, and you get a problem, and then you see, okay, the problem. I had some personal experience in this way. No, it's not a memory. It is a principle, because I know how dangerous was at this time the situation for me to be treated by a wrong doctor. I wouldn't hear. I wouldn't. No, this is you can observe it everywhere. Yeah, is this clear? Okay. Because the structure you make has effects. So this is exactly what you make. If you make this kind of structures, you have this kind of urban development. These are wonderful American examples. Urban sprawl is based on fast individual transport systems. And then you can understand now why I have asked this kind of dots. And now you know why. Okay? So this is the outcome. You can make a 2-level, 3-level motorway as long as you build motorways, you create congestion, not even on the motorway, but in all other roads too. Yeah. The congestion in Tehran are created by the motorways, but they are happening everywhere else also in the city. And it's not terrible, it's normal, it's normal behavior. And now you know the treatment. There's one medicine, there are other medicine, but this is the most effective one. Because the physical measure take away lanes. This would be the stepwise one. Yeah. So they infect everything around it. This was the city of Vienna was so lucky. They were not wise. They were lucky, just reacting on this resistance of the population and some crazy young researchers from different disciplines and artists. It was very important at this time. We had very good artists on our side. Hundert was a friend of mine, and other painters were very active in our fight for or against the motorway. We were fighting for a better city. In principle, we were fighting for a better city, not against the motorway, but the motorway was endangering a better city. Okay, and this is happening in China, for example. They make this kind of motorways, and this is crazy what they are doing in Beijing. They have, I know Beijing, before there was a motorway built, it was a cycle city, and it was a wonderful ballet, like a ballet on the intersections. There was a policeman there, and the cycling, and all the heavy goods were transported on cycle. 6-meter steel beams and something like that. It had no camera, but I had make a lot of photos there. It was like a ballet when they have changed the directions by the policeman. Then the very slow-moving people with the long steel beams, the cyclists were very easily moving around, and the people were crossing the street. today you have very hard, everything is excluded, which is not a car. And they are building every 2 kilometers a ring road around Beijing. And they are wondering that they produce always more congestion. I don't tell you my experience as a cyclist in the last 50 years in Beijing, cycling there. So what is happening here, structures create behavior, and behavior provide finally the data. This would be a semester-long lecture, but I don't have the time here. And if you have car data in mind, then you produce structures for cars. And if you produce structures for cars, then you create car behavior. And finally, you have congestion and urban problems. Yeah. You can do it also with a mathematical formula, but this is easier to understand. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. This is exactly this diagram. Because this is this is the number of trips. We know that the number of trips is more or less, it is in principle constant. It depends on the survey you are doing. But in general, you can see everybody produces about 3 trips per day. So if you have a city, 10 million people, then you have about 30 million trips per day. This is a rule of thumb. It can be a little bit more, a little bit less. It depends on the age of the population and what you are taking into your survey. If you are taking also in your survey very short trips, then you have a little bit bigger figure. But the general kind of surveys produce this number of trips. We haven't found any deviation from this average number. Even there are a lot of colleagues, they don't like this finding because they say mobility is growing. And they are proving their ideology by drawing the number of trips over decades. And there is a slight increase of trips per person per day from the 40s, 50s up to today. And they say, oh, this is the effect of cars. But in the meantime, the number of cars has 100 times increased. Why do they increase only by, let me say, 3% or 4% the number of trips? This has very much to do with the family size. You find it in my textbooks that with increasing number of cars per 1,000 people, the number of children per 1,000 people is decreasing. And the family is also falling apart. We have in many cities more half of the family, of the so-called families, is one-person household. And if you have a one-person household, you have to leave your home for every activity because you don't have no social contacts at home. Today we cannot do with these stupid things here with the social media, but this is not the real social contact. The real social contact, if I see face to face, see his body language and not his appearance in some of these shows and something like that. Or if they have forgotten something, they cannot call somebody, please, when you are coming back from your office, please take this with you, we need it, and something like that. They have to go out. And this is probably the reason. We have some proofs that it is true, but this is a very weak statistical relationship, but it can be explained. But it is absolutely sure, what we know by sure, is not a number of cars. It is, excuse me, this is not a direct effect of number of cars, but it's the indirect effect of cars. Because if you love your cars more than children, then you produce cars instead of children. And this is proof, this has been proved in areas where we have been able to make car-free environments. They have the highest birth rate in the aging European population. There are only some small spots, but they prove my theory. So, sorry. Yeah. No. This is no. This is a very, I would say, speculation. This is speculative. Uh, this depends what you are doing. Excuse me? Yeah, okay. yeah, you're right. Okay. This has nothing to do. No, this is, okay. This could be a special lecture. I have a lot of data for this one too. Yeah. Yes. 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 No, the number of trips is per person is constant. Because very simple. Why is the number of trips per constant? Because the purpose of every trip is to compensate something which you don't have at home. And so it is a work trip, it is a shopping trip, or I can make the shopping trip in my garden, or I have to go to a shop nearby, or I have to take the car to a shopping center. It's dependent on the purposes. If you're, example, if you are a very rich man and you have a car and I have no car, and we have the same profession. What is the case? I'm not, I'm retired. But if we would have the same profession, at the same time, we would have, in principle, the same obligations. Whether you have a car or I have a car, and the other not. This has no role. There's no difference. And if I am in pension and you are in pension, we would have a similar behavior if I wouldn't need a normal retired person, yeah. But I'm a stupid one, so I'm still working. And this is kind of madness. Of course, yeah, of course. Yeah. Because the people are choosing the most convenient mode for them, yeah? Okay, so we know from this that the trip is constant, there is no growth of mobility, and you can prove it. This is the second one. We have now destroyed the first pillar of traditional transport planning. If somebody is appearing and say, oh, there's mobility is growing, then you know he's a madman or a madwoman. Yeah, because mobility is not, he don't know what he's speaking about. If mobility can be only defined per purpose. This is what I fixed in 1975 or something like that. Because if you don't fix mobility and relate it to a purpose, it is a purposeless mobility, and then you can do whatever you want. Yeah? The question is, why are you moving? Yeah, because something makes you moving. Either your internal body tells you need some food, and you are looking can I find some food? Or you have the hormones, and so I'm looking for a girl, meet her, social contact. Or I have problems with social contacts at home, then I go, okay, I have other friends, then I go somewhere else, because at home it's not so nice. Something like that. It's always the problem at the origin. Okay? So, This is the increase of speed in Austria when the people bought cars. This is the car speed over there. And this is our walking speed, the red line here. The walking speed is more or less always the same. And the speed went up over time, very quick. If the calculation would be, would be right, as I have shown you before, this is a survey. This is the duration of the single splits from speed of the service. And if you look how many percent of speed, what is the duration here? 50% is this one, 80% is this one. This is the travel time distribution, sum curve, relatively sum curve for pedestrians. And you see the pedestrians have a speed, average speed house to house, 3 kilometers an hour. And the the cars have 17 kilometers per hour. They are 6 times faster. And our calculation would be right, our assumption would be right. Then you would expect that the car users, which are faster, 6 times faster than the pedestrians, must be on the left side, because they save a lot of time, of course. Because their time must be, due to our calculation, shorter. Very simple. This is, I've published it, I think, in 1989, but the survey is from about 1970 something. So, but the travel time distribution of car users is the same. Okay? If they like. I will translate it this in Farsi. I will do it in Farsi. But what is, I will do it in Farsi. It is a secret. Yes. Yeah, exactly. You give this is the translation of the diagram in Farsi in a very simple way. This is the same diagram as you have seen before in another way, but instead of using the travel time, I am using here the which. This is okay. Yeah. Ah, wonderful. Thank you very much. So, thank you very much. A very good idea. This is the average. Here you see the average speed. This is the same diagram, but in the other view, explaining everything, because this is the average speed, and this is the average distance. And this is exactly what you have said. You cannot make urban sprawl with pedestrians. If you rely on pedestrians, you must make human-sized cities. But if you have cars, then you can do whatever you want, because you can compensate everything on a distant place. Okay? This is the explanation. You said it is urban sprawl. Yes, the reason of urban sprawl is the cheap and the car with the infrastructure for cars. Because you have a parking place at the origin, and you have a parking place attracting you at the end of your trip. Okay? Please. Of course, yeah. You are the professor. I am just... please go ahead.
The student of your student. I'm the grandchildren student of Okay. عزیزان این دوتا نموداری که گذشت و برای اینکه مطمئن بشیم همه توی یه صفحه قرار گرفتیم خیالمون راحت باشه، الان این نمودار رو نگاه کنید. یه خط Y مساوی X یعنی Y مساوی AX پدستریان، سیتی باس، ریجنال باس و پسنجر کارت روی این خطه قرار گرفتن. در سرعت‌هاشون با هم فرق داره. In the x-axis we have speed, average travel speed from even less than 5 kilometers per hour to more than 30 kilometers per
Yeah,
hour,
mostly.
but travel time is the same. Average travel length.
The travel time
Yeah.
is tangents.
Yeah,
Length.
the ratio of
Thank you.
the ratio of length and speed makes time. Delta x to v. So travel time is the same, but the travel length differs. It means when the environment is proper for walking, we can find our destinations in 5, 10, 15 minutes with our very low speed. But when it is car oriented, we need, or when we have access to car, we may select farther destinations. So
my understanding is when the travel mean changes, the destination also changes. That's what we can understand from the diagram.
it is not static, it is dynamic. Destinations go farther, and maybe we have larger destinations. بقالی و چقالی تبدیل میشه به هایپر استار.
اما زمان ثابته.
زمان ثابت و همون زمان رو مصرف میکنی، منتها خورده ها از بین میرن، مسافت طول.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, but we cannot go out of this one. You find it everywhere. I remember I'm teaching in India since over 30 years, 35 years. They were wondering what I was telling them crazy. Today they are teaching the same, what I brought there. Because they find it now in the data. I remember they had once told me about their data that the average travel length in the service for pedestrians was 10 kilometers. The average length in India for pedestrians was 10 kilometers. A professor told me. Well, they presented, they had their presentations in the courses which we are doing together. And we know the average travel length of pedestrians is less than half a kilometer normally. Yeah, and not 10 kilometers. Because to go one way 10 kilometers, you need at least 2.5 hours, something like that. They will never come back every day. They go once. But it's very interesting. It's very interesting. They haven't recognized what nonsense they are telling to the students. Today they have the same data like me because they are changing the service. So what is happening here? We have everywhere not what we are calculating. On the left side we have no cars. We have the pedestrians. And if the system would react as we are doing with the system, which means we are calculating time saving or time loss, when it is slow, then we would have this travel time distribution. This is the travel time budget, which means the 3 trips per day, how much the time are consuming. And what is happening here, we have globally, everywhere, whether the surveys are made in the very high car ownership environment or whether they are done in an environment without no cars, we have everywhere the same travel time. Travel time is not dependent, it's a fixed number, which is good for planning, but it's an extremely hard challenge for urban planning. Because if you are an urban planner, you must fulfill all human needs if you want to make a human scale city within the travel time budget of pedestrians. Then you can forget 90% of the cities which has been built in the 20th century. They can only survive as long as a lot of energy is filled into the system to compensate the deficits of the patient. All the cities are in an emergency room situation. This is exactly what I'm doing when I was also teaching transport, urban planning, and there were students from the architecture coming in the last semesters also in my lecture, and they brought their life work into the examinations, into exercises, And they had the very nice urban developments there. And they said, now I have only one task for you. I switch off every drop of oil going into the city for mobility. And you must prove that the city can survive. 4 years of teaching, useless time wasting. Because they were totally helpless. It had no answer for it. It looks nice, yeah. Yeah. Cut off. Wait. Well, not for public transport. We can forget the amount of fuel for public transport in relation to what is going through the car fleet. Of course, yes. Well, it depends. In a village, you need no public transport. But in a medium-sized city, which has to be, you need some public transport everywhere, I would say. Minimum basis of public transport, it depends, because this goes now to another lecture. Cities are like your bodies, open systems. And you cannot close your body, then you will die very soon. Because they are continuously communicated. Your body is continuously communicated with the air, environment, temperature, and a lot of things. This was a little bit touched, remember, in my first lecture in the active mobility, when we had a discussion about this one, but was difficult to understand. It is difficult to understand because it is difficult. This is the reason why it is difficult to understand. Sometimes very simple things, difficult to understand, like I have shown you. I am always very simple, but difficult to understand. Okay, so this is not a problem. Also, cycling is no problem in this case. Public transport, we know from our experience that public transport, if it is well done, and it's not a high-speed system or something like that, the nonsense of our last decades for moneymakers, and strengthening the big cities, but weakening the rest of the world. The fastest system are rockets, of course, but where they arrive is not nice. Yeah, it depends what they are carrying. The Americans are only carrying this kind of, barely this sugar. But all the other countries are not, they are killing people, but the Americans are just fighting with this kind of Gummibärli, rubber bears. Okay.
So بحث قبلم که گفتید در واقع شهر، خب ما اگر مثلا در نظر بگیریم ما سوخت در واقع نداریم، بزرگاه هم از مثلا در نظر بگیریم ما بزرگاه نداریم. مثلا این سرویس های اصلی که در واقع بخواد مواد غذایی حالا یا اون نیازهای اولیه رو به خود محلات هم برسونه هست. ما اگر مثلا بیایم بگیم آقا ما اصلا بزرگاه اصلا حذف کردیم، مثلا ما امروز بیایم کل بزرگاه تهران رو تو ذهنمون حذف کنیم، به فرض اینم که سیستم امن نقل عمومیمون هم جوابگو جابجایی افرادمون هم هست اصلا و محلاتمون هم همه چی دارن از نظر سرمایه‌ها و کاربریان توی حد قابل قبولی هستن. چجوری میخوام خدمات رو به این محلات برسونیم؟ یعنی شما در نظر بگیرید اگه یک کامیون قرار
He's asking, let's agree that we have banned the oil, and
Oh,
The
even
pub-
the
the
electricity,
public-
energy. It's the
yeah.
energy.
The public transport,
Artificial energy. It's
Yes.
not only oil.
the public transport is still there, but we would still need the flow of material we need
Yes.
for
Yes.
our businesses.
Yes.
And so, what to do for that?
Let them go. In the pedestrian zone, in the pedestrian area, we have an increase of turnover in all the shops. But we have no additional carriageway there. How can this happen? A better logistic. And we open the pedestrian zone in the morning between normally what I'm doing since 6 years, if I have the right partners in the city, between 6 and 10 o'clock as delivery time. You get a slot. Yeah, freight transport is allowed. Freight transport is allowed if you have this kind. This goes. Very clever question, but this goes to the system behavior. If you have this kind of low-speed systems, you have much more workforce and much more intelligent material use locally, and not buying something because it is cheaper from a distant place. So the amount of material flow is much smaller. And for this, what you have, of course, you have the vegetables and what is daily used. But this is coming from the environment, because your money now goes to the producer in the environment instead of going to the banks in the international money casino, which is happening today when you are paying with your plastic cards. You don't know what is happening with your money, because as soon as you are putting your money somewhere with your plastic card, it is registered in a huge computer center, probably not only one globally, but we know the biggest one. Every cent which is happening on the globe and which is catchable by this computer center is used for speculation. This is the casino here, to cheat the other people that they invest into this ring and then catch the money and take it out. Then you can understand why there are some people around who have trillions of money. This cannot happen by working. This happens by cheating, by criminal acts. Legalized by the politicians. They don't understand the behavior of the system. You see, transport problems cannot be separated from all these signs. I can answer this with system behavior. And there was a very good, Harald has made his PhD on this way. So we have discovered that the exactly amount of deficits of countries fits perfectly into the gain of international corporations and banks. So you have on the side the exploitation of people, and on the other side you have the gain of banks and the rich people. Fits perfectly. Used by computer model analyzing cancer. Because your cancer is doing the same, the transport system is eating up your body to make cancer growing. This is cancerous financial structures. Harald has made I was looking for some victims to make PhDs for my crazy ideas. And Harald was a very clever guy. He did it. It was financed by supported by the Club of Vienna. You should look at it. Sometimes the Club of Vienna in the internet, you have a lot of interesting presentations there. Not all of them are, there are very few of them are English, but they are German, but you have the presentation sheets. It's also interesting. Okay. Yeah, please.
آقای مهندس، من برای اینکه اگر ما زیاد الان صحبت بکنیم ممکنه سوء تفاهم بشه و من نکته شما رو گرفتم و میدونم چی دارید میفرمایید. ببین شما مهندس عمرانین؟ برنامه‌ریزی شهری. ببین ما در واقع آزمایش‌های مختلف داریم. بعضی از آزمایش‌ها مخربه. میگه آقا بتون رو میسازیم تحت فشار در واقع روش آزمایش انجام میدیم، بتون خراب میشه، کیفیتش رو میسنجیم. الان نمیگن که قطع کنیم بنزین رو ببینیم که مثلا فلان میشه. منظور اینه، میگه میخوای تست کنی چقدر اربن پلنر درست کار کرده، تستش اینه که هایپوتتیکالی اگر یه همچین اتفاقی بیفته چقدر گرفتار میشی، وگرنه منظور حذف نیست. منتها من الان اگه اجازه بدی زیاد صحبت نکنم چون سوء تفاهم میشه که ما داریم ارائه میکنیم، ولی تو بریک صحبت کنیم با هم. این یه نکته.
شما وقتی که منظور این هم هستش که شما وقتی که این تداوم ترانسپورت رو داری، فرصت ها در محل از بین میرن. وقتی که داری از محلهای دوردست به خاطر ارزون بودن محصولات کشاورزی رو وارد میکنی، کشاورزی محلیت از بین میره. وقتی که این ترانسپورت اضافه رو حذف میکنی، اون موقع تازه فرصت های محلی که از بین رفتن دوباره میان سر جاشون قرار میگیرن و سیستم خودش رو بازسازی میکنه.
Professor, I think we have.
I would like to finish this one, okay?
Yes, you can, but yeah.
But
We make a break. After we finish, we make a break.
okay, then I.
No, finish, then we make a break.
Yeah, I have understood. Yeah. Okay, so there is open end in principle. Okay, this is the most important thing concerning the human behavior. This is the acceptance function of walking distances to public transport stops. This is the function in Vienna. If you are in other cities like in Germany, in the 70s you had this function moved to this way. Or if you are in the countryside, this is the walking distance also on the countryside, which means if you have your car parked in this position, then the acceptance to use the car is 100%. Okay? Have you got it? This is the walking distance acceptance. This is 100% if you have the public transport stop within 100 meters. In principle, all the people, not all the people are going there, but from the people who are going, if you analyze the whole share of people using public transport, they are coming from a distance which is less than 100 meters. Okay? This is Vienna. And with increasing distance, the number of people is decreasing along this function. My contribution was this was one of the findings in 1974. This is driven by a basically process based on energy, body energy use of all beings, of all beings which are moving. Because I found this, it has been found in the honeybees. Honeybees research, this was my discovery, because I didn't know the honeybees' behavior, which is the same mathematical function. And then a colleague of us, our profession, has made a PhD in 1973 in Germany, and he found this function, and I recognized, well, these are the same mathematical function, what is behind it. And then I discovered this is the body energy consumption. So we can calculate this very precisely with the body energy. And body energy is, for bees, very easily to measure, because their whole body energy is sugar. And for humans, we have made several dissertations. I have found some victims which make the dissertation. We have measured body energy by using equipment, heart rate, and something like that. And then we could have a very solid background. And this is the effect of environment. This is the walking distance accepted in Vienna at this time, but it's still the same today also, in a car-oriented environment. And if the environment is free of cars, which means if you can walk through a pedestrian zone or through a park, where you have no influence and barriers and noise and danger from cars, the people may accept much longer walking distances. And this is the reason why some of the observations in Germany have recognized well in some places the number of customers for using public transport has increased by 300, 400% or something like that. Oh, what was the secret? Well, the environment has changed because this is happening when you bring the public transport close to the people. For example, instead of having a railway station 2 kilometers away, they used the railway station by building a new rail going through the cities. And then they had suddenly 600% more users. And this is happening also, you find it in my papers in German, in the blue books we made for the city of Vienna from 79. It was published in 79. Then you have suddenly, if this is increased by about 75%, the catchment area is widened by about 300%. And if you have the same density of population there, then you have 3 times more passengers there. If you clean the environment and the access to public transport from cars. Very simple, if you know what is happening. So this means, if you remember the first slide about evolution, that if you change the upper side, it has an influence on, and so on and so on. Yeah, this is the dynamic effect. This is the dynamic effect, and now you see, each kind of good research must have the feedback also within the teaching. I have now coming to the same effect which I have shown you at the beginning. This is the dynamic out of it. Yeah, without any equations, which is easier to understand for you probably. Architects are a little bit afraid of mathematics. I like mathematics because it makes you very logical and sharp thinking. Otherwise, you are lost in the jungle of complexity. Is this clear? So if you want to produce public transport users, what do you have to do? You have got already your book. Give others a chance. Huh? No, not concentrate your precious gift. I will ask the next question. Okay. What is the problem of these two? Which one has a problem? If you move both of them, which one has a problem? Or has more problems? This is the question, which is the replacing the other one, because you have got it. For the others, which one is the? We have two bodies here, and you have to move both of them. Which one has more problems? This is wrong. We cannot take away from him. No. You are out of game. You are not in the game. Only students are in the game. No. You make it easy. Make it easy. I have very simple question. If you, he's already buying cars. This was not a question. The question is, if you move one of these or both bodies, which one has more problems? Yeah. This is not a good answer. This is a good because you you equalize a machine with a man. Of course, no. You have the same feeling for the car like for the human. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is always. This is. Yeah. Thank you very much. It's wonderful. Discussions. I learn a lot out of discussions, because this is a very good answer if you has a lot of preconditions about system behavior, but this is not my question. The answer for my question: which of these bodies has more problems if you move it? Oh, I haven't asked which body is creating more problems for others. This was not my question. Which of these two bodies, if they have to move, has more problems? You have no idea about your own body. This is your own body. Every body of us exists of 2/3 of your body is water. And if you move water, it is easy to keep it or not. It is wobbling. It is continuously wobbling, and you keep it in an upright position. And if I lift my left leg, I am in a totally unstable position. And my computer in the brain has to compensate permanently the equilibrium of my position here. You need a very fast, so I get one book now because I have given the answer. Okay, this is no, thank you very much. This is the lack of understanding you have. You don't understand yourself. And if you don't understand yourself, how can you make planning for others? My wife also knows that I don't understand myself, but she understands myself much better than me. But this is the problem we have here, and it now the problem explodes if you combine these two, because suddenly this guy is existing in this evolutionary system and get suddenly the power of the car. Now the car is in his brain. Now he has in his brain the car with 200 horsepower. But his body and all his abilities are built for 0.1 for me and for you, if you are a good trained sportsman, is 0.2 horsepower. And you have suddenly 200, or even more, 5 times more. You have suddenly 1,000 times more power. Have you got 1,000 times more knowledge when you sit in a car? Yeah? No. Oh, this is a very good answer. This was a quick. He has compensated all his faults from before. Okay. So, and then exactly happens what, I have shown it before. You don't see the world anymore as it is because you think this is normal, which is totally nonsense. This is the reason why I have invented in 75 or 76, I don't know, 77, this kind of tool. This is the walking tool. Yeah, then this is the situation. And then the normal question is, what is wrong in the picture? What is wrong in the picture? You are urban planners. You are urban planners. Who has already given the right answer? Please keep quiet. What is wrong? No, we try to give others a chance to. Yeah, okay. You have an answer? Yeah. This is wrong. You say this is wrong. Yeah, okay, yeah, this is the wrong answer. Who? The cars. The cars. So the cars are occupying place they shouldn't occupy. Okay. He get a book. He has no book, but he get one. Okay. So, exactly. It was the right answer because everything around me, if you don't see that this is absolutely wrong because it takes space away from what we need for business, what we need for building, what we need for trees, what we need for children, what we need for dogs, what we need for animals, and so on is taken away by the cars. And if you make as urban planners this kind of structures, then you shouldn't wonder that you are killing cities. Okay? Was the right answer? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, just to make aware, because if I am doing this one, or you are doing this one, then everybody recognizes that something is wrong. Because if I'm walking in an upright position, which is a special indication of human, a human is walking on his legs, and he's carrying with him his whole culture, his whole religion, his whole social responsibilities. Then you suddenly recognize that he is making harm to the city because he occupies this huge amount of space. Is this clear? This is the purpose of the invention of my walking tool. Okay? It's very hard. Okay, but you can print some more. And since he has no books anymore, I stop my lecture. Okay, but I have some duty for you in the afternoon. But how is the program today? Yeah? Okay, I can do it with me. I'm allowed to stay here still. Okay. We make a 1 hour, and then we have a little bit more time for. Yeah, lunch is important because we need some input. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So thank you. Thank you very much.